The arena was huge. Its walls glowed with lights from distant stars, and the crowd of cadets and commanders watched quietly. In the center, a massive creature stood on 4 strong legs. Its skin was dark and rough, with patterns like cracked stone. Its eyes burned bright amber, and smoke came from its nostrils. This was the war beast, the greatest test of the Galactic Academy, and it had never bowed to anyone. Cadets from many species had tried to pass the trial before. Some ran and fell in fear. Others tried to fight and were knocked aside by the war beast's strength. The whispers in the arena told the story. No one had passed the test for decades. Today, a new human cadet would face it. His name was Liam, and the other cadets were unsure why the humans were even allowed to take the trial. Humans were small and new to space combat. They did not have the claws, wings, or strength of other species. Many in the arena thought he would fail quickly. Liam walked toward the center. His steps were slow, steady, and calm. His eyes were not full of fear. His hands were empty. He carried no weapon. The crowd murmured. A human without a weapon? What kind of cadet was this? The war beast lowered its massive head slightly and made a low rumble that shook the arena floor. Its nostrils flared and its sharp teeth glinted in the light. It circled Liam slowly, testing him. Liam did not move. He kept his head high and his shoulders straight. Some cadets in the crowd held their breath. This was the first time the war beast had faced a human in this way. Its eyes focused on Liam. Its tail swung behind it and the ground trembled under each step. Liam remembered what his trainer had told him. The war beast senses fear, aggression, and respect. It does not fight what it trusts. It attacks what it doubts. He stood still and waited. He did not try to impress the creature. He did not shout. He did not make sudden movements. He simply breathed slowly and looked at the war beast directly in the eyes. The creature paused and let out a soft growl. Then it stepped closer. Liam did not move. The heat of its body and the smoke from its nostrils made him feel nervous, but he stayed calm. He lowered his head slightly, a simple gesture of respect. The crowd gasped. Some whispered that no cadet had ever done this before. Others shook their heads in disbelief. The war beast stopped moving. Its eyes studied Liam. It lowered its massive front paw and tapped the ground slowly. Liam did not flinch. He slowly knelt on one knee, showing that he was not a threat. His empty hands rested on his leg. A deep silence filled the arena. The other cadets looked at each other in shock. The commanders whispered into their communicators. No one had ever seen the war beast pause like this, let alone consider a human with respect. The war beast tilted its head as if thinking. Its breath created small clouds in the cold arena air. Liam kept his gaze steady. He did not speak. He did not beg. He only showed that he understood the creature. Minutes seemed to pass. The crowd held its breath. Every eye was on the human and the beast. Liam slowly reached one hand out, palm open, toward the war beast. It sniffed the air and lowered its head closer. The sound it made was not a roar or a growl. It was a deep rumble that felt almost like curiosity. Liam stayed still. The war beast circled him once, then stopped. Its tail slowed. Its eyes softened. Liam's heart beat fast, but he kept calm. He could feel a connection forming, something no one else had achieved before. Finally, the war beast lowered its massive head until it nearly touched the ground. It was not a strike. It was not an attack. It was a test of understanding, and Liam had passed the first part. The crowd did not move. No one cheered. They could not believe their eyes. The creature that had tested cadets for centuries without mercy had stopped. It had paused for a human. Liam stood slowly, keeping his hands visible. He spoke softly, though the arena's walls made his voice echo. "I mean no harm. I respect you." The war beast tilted its head again, watching him. Then, without moving away or roaring, it remained still. Liam smiled faintly. He knew this was only the beginning, but it was the most important part. The human had not fought. The human had not fled. The human had shown respect. Commanders whispered among themselves. Scholars took notes. Other cadets stared, realizing that the way humans faced challenges was different from anything they had ever seen. Liam stayed in the center of the arena, calm, waiting, and ready. He did not know what the next step would be. But he understood one thing clearly. In a world that tested strength and fear, courage and respect could be even more powerful. And for the first time in centuries, the war beast paused for a human, sensing something in him that it had never seen before. The trial had begun, but no one would forget this moment. Liam was not just a cadet. He was a human. And the war beast had noticed. The arena was silent. Every eye was on Liam and the war beast. The massive creature had stopped moving, its amber eyes locked on the human cadet. The crowd could not believe what they were seeing. No cadet had ever faced the war beast this way, and no one had ever shown this calm. Liam stood slowly, hands empty, shoulders relaxed. He did not raise a weapon. He did not make sudden moves. He simply looked at the creature and held his ground. He remembered his trainer's words, "The war beast tests not strength in the body but strength in the mind." The beast sniffed the air and lowered its massive head closer. Its hot breath brushed Liam's suit. The other cadets stepped back, unsure what to do. Most would have run or shouted, but Liam stayed calm. He breathed slowly, showing that he was not afraid. Then he knelt on one knee. It was a gesture of respect, simple but powerful. His hands rested on his leg, open and visible. He looked at the war beast directly in the eyes. A soft rumble came from the creature's throat. It was not anger. It was curiosity. Liam smiled faintly, the first human smile the war beast had seen up close in decades. The creature circled him slowly, each step shaking the arena floor. Liam did not flinch. He did not move. Some of the crowd whispered nervously. "He cannot do this," one said. "The war beast will strike." Another shook their head. No one survives this test without weapons or armor. But Liam was not thinking about survival. He was thinking about understanding. The war beast had power, yes, but so did humans, not with claws, wings, or fire, but with patience, observation, and respect. The beast stopped again and lowered its head to just above Liam's. Liam reached one hand slowly and rested it lightly on the creature's snout. The skin was rough and warm. The war beast did not move away. It did not roar. Instead, it breathed slowly as if testing the human's calmness. The crowd held its breath. For centuries, the war beast had only responded to fear or aggression. And now, a human cadet showed neither. He showed understanding. He showed patience. He showed respect. Liam spoke softly. "I do not want to fight. I only want to understand." His voice echoed slightly, but there was no fear, no challenge. Only honesty. The war beast lowered its head even more. Its huge eyes seemed to soften. It sniffed Liam again, slowly, carefully. It tilted its head, studying him. Liam stayed still. His heart raced, but he did not move suddenly. The other cadets watched in awe. They had trained for years to face this creature with weapons, shields, and strategy. They had thought strength meant fighting or overpowering. But this human was showing something they did not understand, something stronger than any weapon. Minutes passed. Liam stayed kneeling, calm and patient. He did not flinch when the war beast circled him again. It stopped beside him and lowered its massive paw. It tapped the ground slowly, almost like a signal. Liam kept his gaze steady. Then the war beast did something unexpected. It lowered its head completely, almost touching the floor. It was a gesture no cadet had ever received. The creature was not attacking. It was acknowledging Liam. Liam slowly rose to his feet. He kept his hands empty and his shoulders straight. He gave the war beast a small bow, a human gesture of respect. The creature watched him quietly. The arena erupted in whispers. Scholars and commanders exchanged surprised glances. One of the older trainers said softly, "I have never seen this before." He did not fight. He did not run. He earned its respect without striking a single blow. Liam smiled faintly and took a few steps back. He was ready for the next part of the trial, but he had already learned something important. Strength was not just in force or weapons. Strength could be in courage, patience, and respect. The war beast lifted its massive head slowly. Its amber eyes never left Liam. Then it circled him one more time and stopped, standing silently beside him. The arena was silent too. No one moved. No one spoke. The moment was too powerful to break. Liam took a deep breath. He knew this trial was far from over. But he also knew something that no other cadet had realized. Sometimes the greatest strength is not in fighting but in understanding. The war beast had recognized that in Liam. And the galaxy would remember this moment for generations. The human cadet had faced the war beast, and for the first time in history, it had stopped to listen. The arena was quiet. The crowd had stopped whispering, but their eyes were wide, fixed on the human cadet and the war beast. Liam stood calmly, hands open at his sides, his shoulders relaxed. The massive creature, once feared by every cadet, now only watched him. Its amber eyes moved slowly, studying him, almost as if it remembered something long ago. The war beast tilted its head. Liam noticed the slight change in its movements. It was no longer circling him aggressively. Its breathing slowed and the rumble from its throat became softer, almost thoughtful. The cadets and commanders in the arena exchanged confused glances. No one had seen the creature act like this before. Liam spoke softly, not to show courage but to show honesty. "I do not wish to harm you," he said. "I only want to understand." His voice echoed slightly but it was steady. He did not make sudden gestures or loud noises. He only stood there, calm and patient, watching the war beast. The creature stepped closer. Its massive paw pressed into the ground, leaving a deep mark. Liam did not flinch. He kept his eyes on the creature, letting it sense that he was not a threat. The war beast stopped and sniffed the air. Its hot breath brushed against Liam's suit, but he remained calm. Then, something unexpected happened. The war beast's eyes seemed to soften. It lowered its massive head toward the ground, not in attack but in recognition. A deep rumble came from its throat. It was not a warning. It was a sound of memory, almost like the creature was remembering something important from long ago. Liam noticed the change immediately. He took a slow step forward and lowered his body slightly, a small bow of respect. The war beast stayed still. It did not move away. Its eyes seemed to lock on Liam in a silent conversation. The arena was silent. The other cadets had never seen this before. They could not understand what was happening. A human, small and unarmed, had faced the greatest test in the academy and made the war beast pause. The commanders whispered to each other, confused but amazed. Liam spoke again softly. "I respect you. I am not your enemy." His words were simple but they carried meaning. He did not shout. He did not threaten. He only spoke truth. The war beast lowered its head further. Its eyes reflected a memory, one from a time long ago. Thousands of years before, humans had traveled across the stars. They had fought alongside the ancestors of the war beasts, not to destroy but to protect. Humans had earned respect through mercy, patience, and understanding. The war beast remembered that now. It was the first time in generations that the creature recognized a human in this way. Its tail swished slowly, not to attack, but as if acknowledging the connection. Liam took another small step forward, hands still open. He did not reach for the creature. He did not try to touch it. He simply stood there, showing he understood its presence. The war beast lowered its massive head to the ground completely, a gesture no cadet had ever received. It was not a sign of submission. It was a sign of recognition, respect, and memory. The cadets in the arena gasped. Scholars took hurried notes. Commanders whispered urgently. They had never seen this before. Liam smiled faintly. He did not feel fear. He did not feel pride. He only felt understanding. He could feel the war beast's memory, its long history, and its silent acknowledgement. For the first time, the beast had paused not because it was tired or curious, but because it remembered something important about humans. The other cadets began to understand. Strength was not just in claws, wings, or firepower. Sometimes strength was in patience, honesty, and respect. Liam had shown all of these without lifting a weapon. The war beast stepped back slightly and lowered its massive paw onto the ground. It tapped twice, slowly, almost as if giving approval. Liam remained calm. He did not rush to claim victory. He understood that this moment was about connection, not competition. The arena remained silent. The crowd could not breathe. They had watched for centuries as cadets failed the war beast's trial. They had never seen the creature pause in this way, never seen it recognize anyone, and certainly never seen it remember humans as allies. Liam looked up at the massive eyes of the war beast. "I will not harm you," he said again. "I only want to learn from you and understand you." The creature made a soft rumble like a slow exhale. It tilted its head and slowly lowered it even closer, touching the ground with its massive snout. Liam took a small step closer, his hands still open. The war beast did not flinch. It did not roar. It only stood there, acknowledging him silently. For the first time in history, a human cadet had not only survived the war beast's trial but had connected with it in a way no other being had. The creature had remembered the humans of long ago and recognized the human before it as someone worthy of respect. The arena was still. Liam's heart beat fast but his mind was calm. He understood something important. Strength was not about force. Strength was about understanding, respect, and trust. The war beast had remembered, and now, it had acknowledged that humans were more than their size, more than their weapons, more than anyone had expected. The human and the war beast stood together in silence, two beings from very different worlds, connected by something older than any trial, older than the arena, and older than fear. And in that moment, everyone watching realized that the galaxy would never see humans the same way again. The arena was still. The war beast stood quietly beside Liam, and for the first time, the crowd felt a strange mix of awe and disbelief. Whispers spread quickly through the spectators. No one could believe what they had just seen. A human cadet had faced the most feared creature in the galaxy and had earned its respect, not with strength or weapons but with patience, calm, and understanding. Word of the trial spread fast. Messages flew through communication channels, reaching star systems far beyond the arena. Scholars, commanders, and leaders across the galaxy watched the recorded transmission again and again. The story of the human cadet facing the war beast without a weapon amazed everyone. They had expected fear or failure. Instead, they saw respect, patience, and connection. Many species began to question what they knew about humans. The cadets from other worlds had always thought humans were weak, small, and inexperienced. But Liam had shown something different. His courage was quiet but strong. His strength was not in fighting but in understanding. Humans were not like other species, and the galaxy had never seen this before. On the capital world, in the Grand Council Hall, leaders watched the feed with heavy eyes. One commander shook his head. "They said he would fail," he said softly. "They said a human would never survive the trial." Another leader leaned forward. "But he did more than survive. He earned the war beast's respect. Without weapons. Without violence." Across the galaxy, academies and training centers replayed the event. Teachers used the video to show new cadets that courage came in many forms. A young alien student pointed at the screen. "Humans are different," she said. "They do not fight everything. They do not strike first. They understand." Even historians grew interested. Ancient records of the war beasts were re-examined. They found stories of humans long ago during the Great Galactic Wars, who had helped war beasts instead of harming them. Humans had earned respect through mercy, not conquest. Liam's actions connected to that forgotten history. It was as if the war beast remembered what humans had done generations before. Meanwhile, Liam stayed calm in the arena. He did not know the galaxy was watching. He only knew the war beast stood beside him, quiet and alert. He looked at the creature and smiled faintly. "I am honored to meet you," he whispered. The other cadets began to understand something important. They had trained for years learning weapons, shields, and strategies to face the war beast. Many had failed because they thought strength meant fighting. But Liam showed that respect and patience could be even stronger than force. A small group of reporters from distant systems arrived at the academy to record interviews. "This changes everything," one said. "The human did not need strength to pass. They used understanding. They used courage in a way we never taught in the academy." The war beast, standing quietly beside Liam, had changed more than the trial. It had changed the way the galaxy saw humans. For centuries, humans were underestimated. They were small, fragile, and young in interstellar politics. Now every species began to ask, maybe humans were not weak. Maybe humans were special in ways no one had measured before. Back in the arena, Liam took a step back and lowered his hands. The war beast looked at him, its eyes soft and deep. Liam understood the creature was calm because it sensed trust and honesty. He had not fought, and yet he had passed the greatest test in the galaxy. Outside the arena, scholars debated how this could happen. They checked old records, finding hints of humans earning respect in ways that were not remembered. It was not physical power that mattered, it was the human way of thinking, of seeing the world, of facing danger without hatred. Cadets from other species began to train differently. They realized that strength was more than claws, wings, or fire. It was courage, patience, and understanding. Liam had become a model not because he was the strongest, but because he was the first to show a different kind of strength. In the capital worlds, the story reached young learners. Children watched the video, amazed that a human had faced the war beast and been accepted. They whispered to each other, maybe humans are something special. Maybe they see the world in ways we do not. The commanders at the academy decided to change the way they trained cadets. Lessons about patience, observation, and respect became part of the curriculum. The war beast was no longer only a test of physical skill, it became a teacher of understanding. Meanwhile, Liam quietly stepped away from the center of the arena. The war beast stayed still, watching him. He had not sought glory, and he did not know how much the galaxy had already changed its mind about humans. But he felt something important. Humans were now seen in a new light. The galaxy would never forget the moment when a human faced the war beast, not with weapons but with heart. Not with aggression but with patience. And in that moment, humans were recognized not just as small creatures in the galaxy, but as beings capable of respect, courage, and understanding that could change even the most feared creature in existence. The arena fell silent once more. The war beast stood quietly. Liam breathed slowly. Outside, the galaxy was reacting, learning, and beginning to understand that humans were not to be underestimated. And for the first time, the legends about the war beast had a new ending. It had paused, it had remembered, and it had acknowledged a human in a way no one had ever imagined. The galaxy would never be the same again. The arena was quiet, but the energy in the air was different now. The war beast stood still, calm beside Liam, and the other cadets stared in amazement. They had never seen anything like this. For the first time, the creature had recognized a human not as prey or a threat, but as something worthy of respect. Liam had passed the trial without a single weapon, without striking a blow and without showing fear. The commanders whispered to each other. They had spent decades running the trials the same way, believing strength and aggression were the only way to survive. Now they realized that strength could take a different form: calmness, respect, and understanding. They looked at Liam, and for the first time they understood why humans were different. Across the galaxy, news of Liam's success spread. Scholars, teachers, and cadets watched the recordings over and over. Children from different worlds whispered about the human who faced the greatest beast without fighting. Other cadets began to see that perhaps courage was not only in battle but in patience and understanding. The academy decided to change the way trials were done. The war beast would no longer only test physical strength or aggression. It would teach cadets about patience, observation, and respect. It became a living lesson for all species. True power came not only from weapons or muscles but from understanding and earning trust. Liam walked slowly toward the edge of the arena, keeping his hands open. The war beast followed him with calm steps. The crowd held its breath. The creature did not roar or attack. It only watched, its amber eyes soft and steady. Liam smiled faintly, understanding that the beast had accepted him as something more than a cadet. It had acknowledged him as a friend. Other cadets stepped forward, curious but nervous. Some had studied the war beast for years, trying to learn its patterns. They had expected fear, pain, and failure. Now they watched Liam approach the creature without weapons and without hesitation. Some whispered to each other, "Maybe there is another way." Liam knelt once more, not as a challenge but as a gesture of respect. The war beast lowered its massive head and tapped the ground slowly. The motion was deliberate and calm. Liam placed his hand lightly on the creature's snout. Its skin was rough, warm, and strong. Liam felt the connection between them, quiet but powerful. The commanders realized the significance. For centuries, the trial had been a test of fear. Now it was a test of understanding. They made notes quickly. They spoke to each other in low tones. The war beast was no longer just a challenge, it was a teacher. Across the galaxy, newsfeeds broadcast the trial. Species who had once underestimated humans began to pay attention. They studied Liam's approach. They realized that humans were not just brave, they were clever, patient, and able to understand creatures in ways others could not. Schools taught students about the trial. Cadets prepared differently, focusing not just on weapons but on learning, patience, and respect. Liam stood and took a step back. The war beast remained still, as if waiting for the next cadet. Liam turned and spoke softly, not for the crowd but for the creature. "Teach them well," he said. The war beast let out a low rumble, almost as if it agreed. The trial changed forever. The war beast would still test cadets, but it would no longer do so to strike fear. Instead, it would show them the value of calmness, understanding, and respect. Every cadet who approached it would learn that courage was not always loud, and strength was not always in force. The crowd erupted into applause, but it was different this time. There were no cheers for victory over the beast. The applause was for understanding, for learning, and for a new kind of strength that humans had shown the galaxy. Cadets began whispering to each other about how they could approach the war beast differently. They realized that the old ways were not the only ways. Liam walked out of the arena slowly. The war beast stayed where it was, calm and strong, a symbol of a new lesson. Scholars took notes, cadets observed, and commanders realized that the galaxy had changed in a small but meaningful way. Humans had introduced a new perspective, one that would last for generations. Even after Liam left the arena, the story of the trial was remembered everywhere. The human who faced the war beast without weapons, without fear, and with respect became a legend. The war beast, once only a test of strength, had become a teacher of patience and understanding. The academy officially declared a new way to train cadets. Physical skill was still important, but so was patience, observation, and respect. Cadets learned that the greatest victories were not always won with force. Sometimes, the greatest victories were won with courage of heart and clarity of mind. Liam's simple actions had changed the trial forever. The war beast had acknowledged him, the galaxy had watched, and humans had shown a new kind of power. One that did not need to strike, roar, or dominate. One that only needed to understand. And in that moment, a new era began. Cadets would approach the war beast not with fear but with respect. They would learn that strength came in many forms. And the galaxy would never forget the human who faced the greatest beast, bowed with respect, and taught everyone that true power could be gentle, patient, and wise.